Hi guys! Revopoint released a new scanner to their collection. It's the Inspire 2 3D scanner. This new model has some new features and much better performance when compared with the previous Inspire 1 model. You want to know all about this new scanner? Then stay tuned. Hi guys, welcome back. My name is Rui and this is the Rui Raptor YouTube channel. If you want to help us out, you can by giving this video a like and subscribe to the channel. You can also help by joining our Patreon page or by clicking on any of the affiliate links posted below in the video description. So, as we mentioned before the intro, Revopoint released a new scanner. We reviewed lots of scanners from this manufacturer before, and you can find the links below in the video description. In this video, we will review the new Inspire 2 3D scanner. This new scanner has lots of improvements when compared with the previous Inspire 1 model. The biggest change is that this new scanner is capable of dual scan mode, which is scanning with structural light and infrared laser lines. With the laser lines, it's possible to capture detailed, dark or shiny surfaces without scanning spray and up to 90 frames per second. And with the structural light, it's possible to scan feature-rich, small to medium parts without using markers and up to 18 frames per second. It's also possible to scan body and face with this mode. The accuracy was also improved from 0.2mm on the first Inspire to 0.05mm on the new Inspire 2. Another difference is that this new scanner can be used outside, and for that are included a couple of lenses to block unwanted UV light that could interfere with the sensors. Also, it delivers 30% more detail and 30% bigger capture area as well. Same as the previous scanner, it can capture color as well, and it's equipped with Wi-Fi. It's lightweight and portable and can be used with a cell phone or computer. As for software, while the previous Inspire 1 uses the RevoScan 5, the new Inspire 2 uses the Metro software instead. This new scanner also comes with an ultra-precise photolithographic calibration board to ensure that this scanner is always accurate. As for the price, there are several options on the manufacturer's website. The standard version at the moment of this video is below $500 US. If you want the mobile accessories, you will have to get the premium edition. There's also an additional option which includes the scanner and Revo Design software, which is a professional CAD software for reverse engineering. Now, inside the box we have a quick starter guide, markers and pamphlets, a cable to power the turntable and the cable to connect the scanner to the computer, a small tripod, a plastic box with lenses, a small turntable, and the scanner. Under the foam, we can find the calibration board. And this is everything that came inside the box. The scanner is this one. It comes with this nice copper color. At the front are the cameras, LEDs, and projector. At the bottom is the threaded nut to secure the scanner on the tripod. And at the back are the connections and power LEDs, the USB Type-C connector, and the start and pause button. This is the tripod that comes with the scanner. It's small, but the legs can be pulled out. It's possible to connect the scanner to a smartphone, and for that you will need this kit as well. Inside, you have the cable to connect the scanner to the smartphone, a power bank to power the scanner, a small piece to attach the scanner to the phone holder, and the phone holder. Since there are smartphones with different sizes, the phone holder can adjust its width. The smartphone cannot provide enough power for the scanner, so you will need to use this power bank. It's small and can be attached directly to the phone holder and also to the tripod if we want to. As for capacity, the power bank has a capacity of 4 amps. As mentioned before, we will use Revometro software that is available for free on Revopoint's website. Okay, to use the scanner with the computer, we first attach the tripod to the scanner. And then we connect the USB Type-C cable to the scanner. On the cable, there is a thumb screw that we need to turn to secure it. And it's ready. If you want to use this scanner with a cell phone instead, you first attach the cell phone support adapter and then attach the cell phone support. The power bank can be attached to the cell phone holder next and act as a grip as well. If you want, you can use the tripod as well. To connect everything, we need to use this 2-in-1 cable. On the output connector of the power bank, we connect the USB Type-A connector. Then we connect the scanner. Same as before, we need to turn the screw to secure the cable. The cell phone holder has a spring and can hold cell phones with different sizes. The remaining USB Type-C connector is connected to the cell phone. The software for your cell phone is also available for free. For Android, you can download it from the Play Store. If you want to use the scanner outside, you need to install a couple of lenses first. These lenses will block the UV light that interferes with the scanner's sensors. Okay, for the first test, we will use the small decorative Christmas mouse door. Since there are dark areas, which are difficult to capture, we used scanning spray on it. The software was able to capture the model nicely and without any issues. We then exported the model to STL format and done some minor adjustments. One thing we changed was the knob, which was replaced with the sphere, to give it a more realistic look. We then loaded the model on our slicer and used our 3D printer to make it. And this is the result. It turned out very nice. We have a big model head made from styrofoam and we decided to test it and scan it. At first, the scanner was able to scan the model, but on the top of the head, it was having a hard time to maintain the tracking. This is because the back of the top of the head does not have enough features, so it's not the scanner's fault. With that in mind, we placed several markers and tested again using the markers feature. Somehow the scanner and the software were not being able to capture the model, regardless of the settings used with the sliders at the left. We then switched to feature detection, but the software didn't like the markers and couldn't keep track. We ended up quitting the markers altogether and made our own markers to work with the features detection. The thin needles with the blue tag at the edges are a good idea because the scanner detects the blue tag and not the needles. This will also make things easier later on when removing the unwanted scanned data from the model. Once we did that, we printed this one as well. And this is the result. Next, we scanned this model of a chicken. It has many details on the surface, so it's nice to test the scanner as well. The scanner was able to scan the model and all the details easily. We also printed this model on our Bambu Lab H2D, and this is how it turned out. All the details came out nicely on the 3D printed piece. We also scanned this cute model. The scanner was able to capture the model except for the dark areas, such as the eyes and beak. Same as the previous software versions, we can do a little bit of cleaning. Here, we selected the base and deleted it. We then selected the open areas that were not scanned and closed them. To fix the eyes and beak, we used MESHMIXER, and then printed the model once again. And this is how it turned out. Next, we scanned this red bow candle holder. We started by scanning the model with it laying on its side. Then we paused the scan and we placed it on its upright orientation. Resumed the scan and let it capture the remaining areas. Once the scan was finished, we again deleted the extra captured data and closed the openings on the mesh. Some additional details were fixed using MESHMIXER, and then exported to our slicer for 3D printing. And this is the result. We had this model from last Christmas laying around, and which is fairly detailed, so we scanned this one too. Because we were using the structured light mode, we had to use a bit of scanning spray on the black gloves. The result was very good. We fixed some minor issues on MESHMIXER and then modified the top of the model so it could hold one of our candles. And this is how the model turned out 3D printed. We then scanned this candle that has lots of details on it. The scanner was able to capture the texture nicely as well. The colors and details are all there. When analyzing the mesh, we can see all the details. Then, we used this very detailed model to check how the texture and mesh scanning would turn out. We had to scan this model on its upright orientation and also on its side to capture all the angles. The texture was captured without many issues, and it even captured the details on the bottom of the model. As for the mesh, it turned out great. However, there were some areas that the scanner was not able to capture. For these areas, we had to first close the holes and then do some touch-up on MESHMIXER. We also tested another highly detailed model and with lots of colors. And this is the result. Most of the features were captured, including all the different colors. Some very small details were captured, which is surprising for a scanner of this type. One cool feature about this scanner is the ability of scanning with infrared laser and structured light. For the previous models, we used the structured light. So for the following tests, we used the infrared laser. With this feature, we can capture dark materials much easier. One of the models tested is this scale model dash. We didn't use any scanning spray on this model, only the infrared laser feature. And this is the result. It was able to capture the dark model much easier than when using the structured light. However, the model came out a bit rough, and the very small areas need post-processing touch-up. We then scanned this black remote control. Once again, it was able to capture the model, but it didn't turn out as smooth as the original model. We tried a second totally black model, and the result was once again not smooth, but it captured many of the model's features. One thing we wanted to test was the difference between scanning with the structured light and the laser. For that, we used this small model and scanned it once with the laser and once with the structured light. If we place both results side by side, it's very hard to see the difference. Both were able to capture the details correctly, but the laser lines captured the dark areas such as the eyes much better. When using the laser, and unlike the black models where the results were not as smooth, on models like these, the results are smooth and much better. We also wanted to know how accurate are the scans in terms of measurements. For that, we 3D printed a test cube and scanned it. The cube measures 19.8 millimeters using a caliper. And when using MESHMIXER to measure the scanned cube, we get the same measurement as well. So, in conclusion, this new scanner brings several new improvements when compared with the previous version. The laser mode is a game changer when scanning dark models. With it, the scanner captures them much easier. Although the scans done on black parts with the laser don't get as smooth as we would like, when scanning lighter pieces, they turn out very good. The improved resolution and the laser mode are in fact good reasons for you to upgrade. The price for this type of scanner is also very affordable. The manufacturer keeps releasing updates to their software, which also helps to improve the performance. Don't forget that the scanning results also depend on using the best scanning techniques and not just depending only on the hardware. Knowing how to work with the software is also a factor. Tweaking the scanner's exposure before scanning and choosing the right settings for the fusion step is also important. And that's it, you guys. What do you think about this new scanner? Feel free to leave your comment below. Thanks for watching. We will see you guys next time. Bye!